So, you've heard of this weird game called Dungeons & Dragons. You don't know what it is, does, or how it works, because you're not a nerd. Maybe you heard it referenced in a TV show. Or that guy that sits next to you at work has run out of things to tell you about his LARPing weekends, and how totally immersive they are, and has moved on to his other hobbies. Or maybe you stumbled across a weird little video on the internet that started ranting to you about this awesome game and how you should totally play it. Well, strap in and or on, because we're going for a crash course. Dungeons & Dragons is an RPG, that is, a role-playing game, not a rocket-propelled grenade as some of you Call of Duty fans might have thought. It was first published in 1974 by two men that thought chess was too simple and that The Lord of the Rings was good but would have been better as a choose-your-own-adventure book. In the 1980s, it caused something called the Satanic Panic in rural America, which was caused by fundamentalist Christians doing what they always do, which was failing to read a book properly. 46 years and 5 editions later, and here we are, able to sit down with friends at a table or across the internet and pretend to be Nancy the Necromancer Naturist or Billy the Big Bald Barbarian Elf. So what's the big deal, I hear you ask? Well, in a make-believe world with gnomes and half-orcs, you can be anyone or do anything. Well, you can certainly try. Want to be a bird person from Rick and Morty? Easy, Aarakocra Ranger. Want to be Geralt of Rivia from The Witcher? Half-elf Eldritch Knight. Want to be the most boring person alive? Human fighter. Seriously, I cannot overstate how many people come to a game where I've literally seen people role-playing as a sentient hat, controlling a mannequin, and say, I've got the entire spectrum of race and class to pick from. I could be a snake wizard, or a gnome bard that shoots lightning from his dick. But you know what? I'm going to push the boat out and be a generic white man that hits things with sticks that range from sharp to pointy. But whatever. If you're having fun, then there are no wrong answers. So, like I said, you can try and do anything. Case in point. In the first game of D&D I ever played, our group was creeping through a cave, hunting down some goblins. Whoa, throw the brakes on this runaway creativity train, I hear you say. Shut the fuck up, I rebut. We were all new, and only one of us had even the vaguest idea of how it all worked. Two of us went to scout out ahead, climbing up a steep slope that the goblins used as a rubbish chute. Long story short, we got to the top, the other character I was with coughed and alerted the boss monster that was just round the corner. And he came over and knocked me out in one hit. So far, so Friday night at Wetherspoons, you might be thinking. The player next to me then said the words, "I would like to pick up his unconscious body and ride it down the slope like a surfboard." A few rolls of the dice later, and we're at the bottom. Me half dead and covered in rancid meat, and her feeling very smug with how she saved us. Now that I say it like that, I guess it is very Friday night at Wetherspoons. But here's the kicker. I've told that story many times, even when asked to stop, and every time I've used the pronouns I, she, and we. I seduced the dragon, she rode me like a surfboard, we ended up before a judge looking very sheepish. You see, books and films might have you rooting for the heroes, but you can shout as hard as you like for Frodo to go and find a giant fucking eagle. The silly bastard won't do it until the third act. And video games might test your skill and ingenuity, but I don't think I've ever heard anyone say, "Remember that time we were playing Battlefield and you shot that one guy?" Well, no one I'd trust to leave in charge of my fictional children anyway. So, is Dungeons & Dragons for you? Let's see. If the answer is yes to any of the following questions, then you might want to try it out. 1. Have you ever considered what the ramifications might be of flirting with an orc? If yes, find a game as soon as possible, and on an unrelated note, you may want to consider playing a bard. If no. 2. Do you have an ounce of creativity that hasn't yet been bled out of you by a harsh and dreary capitalist world? No. Well, if that sentence didn't push you over the edge. 3. Do you like sitting at a table or computer with your friends, drinking, responsibly, and making dick jokes? If you answered no to all of the above, then well done for making it this far in the video without slipping back into your coma. And if you would like to try and rejoin productive society, can I suggest that you try a game of Dungeons & Dragons with some friends and a few beers anyway? You might want to try playing as a human fighter.